In this video, we'll be learning three things. The first thing we're going to learn how to do, it's right here, is we'll learn how to plot curves on a graph with the TI NSpire CX. We'll then learn how to fit the window, in other words, zoom in or out, in order to fit the curve on our screen, on our calculator screen. And last but not least, we'll also learn how to find the point or points of intersection of the two curves. And to do this, we're going to use these two functions. So you may want to make a note of these. We're going to find the coordinates of the points of intersection of the graphs y is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 3, as well as y is equal to x minus 1. So I'll leave this up in the right-hand corner here so you can see the equation of the two curves, and I'll also leave the aims and objectives here in the on the right-hand side, I should say. So let's get started and see how to do this with the TI NSpire CX. Now, on our home screen, the first thing we're going to do is to create a new document. And what we want to do here is add graphs. So we go ahead and select Add Graphs, the second option here. It's then asking us f1 of x, in other words, what's the equation of the first function? Well, in this case, we saw that we have x squared minus 4x plus 3. Once we've entered those in, we press enter, and we can see the curve appear here. The next thing we want to do is plot the second curve, or second graph that we're given. Remember, that was y is equal to x minus 1. So we're going to go ahead and press menu again, and we're going to select the third option, graph. And in this case, we know the curve's equation, or the function, so we select 1, function. And now we can see at the bottom of our screen that we're asked for the equation f2 of x, so that's the second curve. And we go right ahead and type x minus 1. And again, we press enter. And we can see that we now have both of these curves, or graphs, on the same grid. So that's done. The next thing we want to see here is how to get a better view on both of these grids. Looking at this, we can see that a lot of this space here is just wasted. We really don't need to use up this much screen space with all of this. And the same thing for the negative y values here. We can see that, yeah, we really don't need all of that. So just looking at this, we can see that if we were to make the lowest x value, say negative 3, as well as the lowest y value, the same thing here, say negative 3, then we should be fine. And let's just look here. We can see that, yeah, if we stopped at x equals to 7, we should be okay. And on the y-axis, we don't really need to go any higher than 7 either. So let's just go ahead and change the window. And we'll plot these two curves from x equals to negative 3 to 7, as well as from y equals to negative 3 to 7. So let's change the window. To do this, we press menu, and the fourth option we see here is window/zoom. So we select that. And again, we can see that we have quite a few options here, but the one that we're going to be interested in this case is window settings, the very first one. So we go ahead and press enter. And it's now asking for us for x min. That's the smallest x value we want to see on the screen. So as we just saw, x equals to negative 3 should be fine. It then asks us for the maximum x value. So let's go ahead and say what we saw a couple of seconds ago. That was 7. So our x values are now set. Let's do the same for y values. We saw that we needn't go less than negative 3. And let's go to 7 on the y-axis. So from negative 3 to 7. There we go. And click OK. And so there we can see that we've got a much better view on these two curves. And so that's how you would zoom in or out to fit the curve on the screen. Really, it's a matter of looking at what we have, trying to gauge and just judge which x values would be suitable before just guessing, and then enter them. Now, the last thing we're going to see here is how to find the points of intersection of these two curves. And this is a very common exam question, so you want to make sure you know how to do this. So to do this, again, we're going to press, we've got our two graphs on the same grid here, and we press menu, and we're going to select the sixth option here, analyze graph. We now look at the options we have, And the one we're looking for in this case is intersection, so that's the fourth option. So we press enter, and the calculator is now asking us for a lower bound. Now, all that's really asking us for is to make sure we go to the left-hand side of the point of intersection that we're interested in. So to begin with, we're looking at this point of intersection. So I'm just going to place my cursor anywhere to the left and click. It's now asking us for an upper bound. So in this case, it's just asking us to make sure that we're on the right-hand side of the point of intersection. And again, now that I'm on the right-hand side, I can go ahead and press click. And there you go. The calculator's just worked that out, that the point of intersection is at 1, 0, which is right here on the x-axis, point intersection. So that's the first point of intersection found. We can see here that there's another one though, so let's try and figure out what the coordinates of that point are. Again, we're going to use the same method. So we select Menu, and just as we did before, we select the sixth option, Analyze Graph, and we then select Intersection. Once more, it's asking us for a lower bound, so let's make sure we're on the left-hand side of the point of intersection. Here would be good. And it's now asking us for the upper bound, so we just move along to the right and make sure we're to the right of the point of intersection. There we go, and we click. And there you go, the calculator works it out, and we can see right there that it's figured out that the point of intersection is the point with coordinates 4, 3. And there we have it. We've just figured out how to find the coordinates of the points of intersection of two graphs. So let's just see what we've learned here. We've learned how to plot two curves on the same grid, and if we needed to plot more curves, we would follow the same technique. We've also seen how to zoom in and out of our XY grid in order to make sure that we see the curves we have properly. And last but not least, we learned how to find the points of intersection of two curves. So don't hesitate to watch this again a couple of times to let it sink in. I hope that helps.